I just don't want to hurt you.
Oh, I say. Grim's expression softens.
Let me make you feel good. Let me erase some of the hurt.
He pulls me against him for a searing kiss that makes me want nothing more than for him to be inside of me. Injuries be damned. His lips release mine all too quickly. The gentle night breeze licks across my wet mouth, cooling my lips. Grim continues to my neck, sucking behind my ear. I dig my fingernails into his back as he trails his talented tongue down my shoulder, then across my chest. He pushes up my shirt, staring hungrily at my naked breasts.
Perfect, beautiful tits,
he whispers with such awe, it sounds like a prayer. Sucking my nipple into his warm mouth, he toys with it between his teeth and tongue. I kick out my legs, needing more, so much more.
Shh, I got you, Trix.
I groan into the night as he moves to worship my other nipple. I'm ecstatic and frustrated all at the same time. He lowers his mouth down my body, trailing his lips across my skin, down past my navel. When he reaches my shorts, he tugs at the button. I lift my hips to assist him in ridding the barrier of clothing between us.
Tell me if I hurt you,
he murmurs. His breath creates a tingling sensation against my already sensitive and swollen clit. I can only nod my response because his lips are on me again, silencing my words and consuming my thoughts. He's kissing me passionately in my most intimate place, parting my pussy lips with his tongue and lapping me up like I'm the most delicious morsel he's ever tasted. He groans against my core. I'm holding on to him for dear life, my fingers splayed in his hair to anchor him to me and me to the ground. Grim massages my inner thigh with one hand while he works a thick finger inside of me with the other. Gently, too gently. There is no pain, only Grim and pleasure, and everything I want in the world right here between my legs. I tense as he sucks my clit into his mouth. A feeling of pure electric heat sizzles throughout my body. My insides ache as the pressure builds and builds, from a spark to a raging fire. He lifts away slightly, teasing me by blowing softly across my wet pink folds. I shudder so hard my teeth chatter. Arching my back, I pull on his hair, greedily and shamelessly grinding myself against his perfect face. He must like my reaction, because he groans against me, fucking me with his fingers and licking me over and over again like a crazed animal. As if making me come is all that's important in this world. I'm close, I tell him, pulling his hair even harder, egging him on. He lets out a guttural groan, flattening his tongue against my clit, stroking it up and down and back again. The tension I feel within me is borderline pain, twisting me from the inside out. I'm about to burst through my own skin. Grim uses his teeth and lightly bites my clit before sucking it hard into his mouth one last time. I come apart on a roar of my own, screaming his name into the night. I contract around his tongue, coating it in a flush of wetness I can feel dripping down my ass cheeks. The pleasure smashes into me over and over again, shattering me into pieces like a hammer against glass. For the very first time in my life, I'm happy to be broken. Grim doesn't allow me to reciprocate. Instead, he dresses me silently and helps me back to the bike. I think he's angry or upset, so I allow him his silence. When we're back in the room of the brothel, he closes the door and turns the lock. I remove all of my clothes until I'm standing naked in front of the bed. When he turns from the door, his eyes land on me. His lips part as he takes in my naked form. I raise my arms out to the side. I'm bruised and broken. I'm battered and battle-worn. This is who I am. You won't hurt me. I want you to take me, just as I am. A tear rolls down my cheek. A growl tears from his throat. He pounces, pushing me back onto the bed. I help him pull off his jacket. He makes quick work of his pants until we're skin on skin. His lips are everywhere. The heat of his thick cock is against my stomach, throbbing against me with need. Moisture leaking from the tip spreads against my skin, and I moan because it's all for me. His need, his love. I reach down and grab him in my hand, stroking up and down, watching his eyes open and close, his chin tipped up. Knowing I have this much power over such a powerful man makes me drunk with pleasure. I tighten my grip, and he bucks in my hand.
Enough,
he growls, pulling from my grip. He spreads my legs wide with his knees, and then he's inside me, filling me, stretching me wide open. Our eyes lock as he begins to fuck me, and I realize he's trying to be gentle. You won't hurt me, I whisper, running my hands through his hair. Please, Grim, I need you, all of you. That's all it takes. He drives in, thrusting hard, pushing me up further against the headboard. He's relentless as he pounds into me. Pleasure erupts within me, and my stomach tightens with a need for release. He reaches under me and flips me over. He re-enters me with brutal force, lifting my hips to meet his every brutal thrust. It's still not enough. I push back against him. I'm screaming his name, and he's screaming mine, until it's all a blur of white light behind my eyes, and a full-body orgasm that shakes me to my very core, soaking the sheets beneath us. As I regain my senses, Grim pushes deep inside of me. My name and a swear tears from his throat as he floods me with his release.
Fuck, Trix.
We both collapse to the mattress. He flips me back over and settles himself between my thighs. He pushes my hair from my face.
I love you,
he says softly. Tears prick my eyes. I love you too. He buries his face in the nape of my neck, breathing me in. His cock springs to life once more, hardening against my skin. He rolls me to my back, settling between my legs and pushes inside. This time when he begins to rock his hips, it's not a wild animalistic need. It's torturously slow and passionate. He lifts his head and stares into my eyes as he makes love to me. Slowly, tenderly, as if for the last time. This goes on for hours. Neither of us is wanting it to end. As if my body can't take any more, I come without warning, violently erupting in a shudder of pleasure. I'm both screaming his name and sobbing as he finds his own release. When he collapses next to me, I search his face and find that his cheeks are wet. At first, I think it's my own tears smeared across his skin. But then he blinks and a tear of his own pools at the corner of his eye, dropping onto the pillow. He reaches for a jacket. At first, I think he's already getting dressed. But he pulls something from the pocket and sets the jacket back aside. He lays down beside me once again and lays the cool metal object over my chest and throat. My locket, I breathe, clasping a hand over it. Grim places one hand over mine, and the other cups my cheek. Why do I feel like this is a goodbye? I whisper, feeling like the breath is being stolen from my lungs little by little. My heart slows to a crawl, as if it's pausing to hear what comes next. Grim's sad golden eyes meet mine.
Because it is.
15. Imogene. EJ! Gabby says with an enthusiastic smile. She's standing, holding the back of her hospital gown together, one arm tucked behind her back. The other is wrapped in a thick black sling. Sandy is standing on the other side of the bed, with a pile of clothes in his arms. He drops it on the bed with a heavy sigh. What's wrong? I ask him. He looks to Gabby.
You're about to find out.
Don't mind him. He's just being pouty, Gabby says, sticking her tongue out at Sandy, who scrunches his nose in return. I love this playful side of Gabby, a side of her I haven't seen since we were kids. It's not her playfulness that throws me. It's the familiarity between her and Sandy. I wonder just how familiar they've really become. Did you hear? I'm being released, Gabby exclaims.
Yay,
Sandy mutters under his breath. No, I haven't heard. That's amazing. I sit on the corner of the bed while she gets dressed. She spins her finger in the air. Sandy rolls his eyes and reluctantly turns around. Listen, I have to tell you something, I say. Actually, I have to ask you something. About Ireland? She jumps up and down, then winces, grabbing onto her shoulder. You know? She pulls a black sundress over her head. Sandy turns back around, as if he instinctively knows she's done dressing. I spot a mirror on the wall Sandy was just facing, and realize instincts had nothing to do with it. When he spots me looking at the mirror, he flashes me a wink and a sly smile. Yes, I know. Callum came in. He told me all about it. Can you believe we're going to Ireland? He says he lives in a town with rolling green hills, and they have festivals and schools. Can you believe it, EJ? We could go to school. In all the years I've known Gabby, I've never seen her so excited before. And you have a family, and a mom and a dad. I can't wrap my brain around this. It's all so everything. It's what we dreamed of, Imogene. The day has come when it's all finally coming true. We're getting out of this town. We're going to stop surviving and start actually living. If I was undecided about leaving before stepping into Gabby's hospital room, I'm not anymore. I can't deny Gabby her safety, this opportunity, or anything that makes her as excited as she is right now. We are going to be living our dreams, she repeats, embracing me in a hug. I stare over her shoulder at a somber-looking Sandy and hold her tightly. Yeah, we are, Gabby. We finally are. My words aren't entirely true. They would be if I were speaking them months ago. Over the past few months, my dreams for Gabby have remained the same, but my own have changed. They no longer only include safety and security, or a life outside of lacking. I dream of a man in a black leather hood, bleeding black roses, and an unbroken heart. That's a dirty trick you pulled, I say, crossing my arms over my chest. Callum is sitting at the table, typing away at a laptop. When he sees me, he closes it and removes the reading glasses from his nose, tucking them into his coat pocket.
"I suppose you've spoken to Gabriella then,"
he says with an unapologetic smile.
"I didn't get to where I am by playing by the rules, and neither did your beau, for that matter."
I stand in front of him across the table.
"Sit,"
he says, holding his hand out to a chair. "I'd rather stand," I say, stealing my nerve. "You want me to come to Ireland with you, right?"
"Aye, you and Gabriella."
"Then I have demands."
"Demands?"
he asks with a sparkle in his eye. "Yes, you're a businessman. You didn't get to where you are now without negotiating a time or two."
"Is that what this is then? A negotiation?"
"Yes."
"Did Grimm send you? I expected him to make some demands of me in exchange for allowing you to come with me. But he hasn't. The only thing he asked is that if you were to come, that your friend Gabriella come as well. Are you here as his ambassador?"
"No. Grimm didn't make any demands of you because he loves me. He's not going to negotiate the terms of my release because I'm not his possession. These are my own." He nods and looks pleased.
"Sit then. Business conducted standing tells the other person you don't trust them."
"I don't trust you."
"Yes, but you have to give an air of trust to make the other person want to give in to your demands. Without trust, negotiations seldom get far."
He leans back in his chair. I round the table and take the seat opposite him. I fold my hands on the table. "Better?" I raise my eyebrows.
"Much. So go on then. What are these demands of yours? Shall I make a list?"
He picks up a pen from the table and pulls a small notepad from his pocket. I shake my head. "No, I don't need this to be written down. You never know who might see it." He smiles proudly.
"Smart girl."
He places the pen and pad down next to his laptop. He gestures to me, then crosses his legs.
"Go ahead."
I clear my throat. Does Clan Egan run girls?"
"Aye,"
he answers without hesitation.
"We don't traffic, if that's what you're asking. Your mother would have my bloody head. But we run some establishments up and down the East Coast, and several back in Ireland."
"Good. You see, because of the violence here in Lacking and the war breaking out, women, are scared to come here and work for Bedlam, regardless of the promised increase in security measures, and the chief opening the back road through the reservation, so the guests and staff don't have to drive through Los Muertos territory to get here. Most of the girls who had signed on to start during the grand opening have quit, and won't agree to come back until it's safe."
"I've heard this. What exactly is it you're asking of me, Imogen?"
I lean my elbows on the table and hold his curious gaze. I straighten my spine. "I'm asking that you send girls to the brothel. Temporarily, of course, until the war is over and those positions can be given to the willing women of Lacking who desperately need employment."
"Done,"
he says.
"Anything else?"
"I want you to send men to help Grimm and Bedlam fight the war."
"Already done. It's my war to fight too. Just because I won't be present for it doesn't mean the clan won't be. I've told Grimm as much."
I nod. "I want you to stop dealing heroin here."
"It's not as if I'm going to continue business with Marco, or whoever his predecessor might be. I've already reached out to Margaret. Los Muertos won't be involved in any of my business dealings in Lacking."
"No, you don't understand. I want you to stop dealing heroin in Lacking. For good. Callum raises his eyebrows.
And why should I do that?
Because I won't go with you if you don't. The people of this town suffer from poverty. Poverty leads them to desperation and a need for an escape. That escape comes in the form of pain pills, which get them hooked on heroin because it's cheaper and has a stronger effect. Addiction leads to crimes against innocent people and senseless violence. The gang violence is one thing. The violence among the people is another. If I can help stop it, I will. And it starts with you. Callum considers me for a moment.
Is that negotiable?
I shake my head. I won't come with you if you don't stop dealing in this town.
If I don't, someone else will. The cartel has a presence here.
Then, I also amend my request that you deal with them as well, on whatever terms that won't turn them against you or cause more violence. Callum leans forward, mimicking my position.
Done. Anything else?
One more thing, I sing softly.
Go on,
Callum says, intrigued. The second I want to come back, you'll let me.
Imogen, I'm not your captor. You're my daughter. If and when you want to come back, I'll have the plane fueled up and on the runway within the hour.
Good. Then it's a deal.
I amend that to say, when it's safe. I won't bend where your safety is concerned. It's non-negotiable.
Agreed. I hold out my hand. Callum takes it in his, and we shake. He stands from the table, still holding my hand, and pulls me from my seat into an embrace. He smells like springtime aftershave and cigar smoke. It feels new to be embracing my father, but not entirely uncomfortable. I relax in his arms.
We seem to have reached a deal,
he says, resting his chin on my head.
Which is a good thing, because your mother would have had my balls on a pike in the driveway the second I landed and you weren't on the plane.
I pull away. She sounds menacing.
More like formidable, much like yourself. People may think I'm the one they should fear, but they've never crossed the likes of your mother.
16. Grim. I know the instant I enter the room that Trix is already gone. I both hate and am grateful for her wanting to skip the hard goodbyes. On the middle of the bed is a quote scribbled on a napkin. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Winnie the Pooh. Instead of a signature, there's a doodle of a simple black rose at the bottom. I hold the note to my chest and close my eyes, trying to steady the erratic heartbeat that feels a lot like I'm being stabbed with each breath. Boss, there's a bus full of Irish women out front. What? I spin to face Sandy. Why? They said they're here to work at the brothel. I believe they called themselves temps. Who would... I pause. Irish? I ask. Sandy nods. Every last one of them. I figured you asked Callum to send them, negotiated terms for Gabby and EJ going. The only thing I asked for was that he keep them safe. Well, then this is either from the kindness of Callum's heart or... I smile, knowing full well who is responsible. It's not. Albie appears in the hall. You're right. It's not from the goodness of his heart. And yes, there was a negotiation. I still don't get it, Sandy whines. Trix, she negotiated terms with Callum. She sent you a busload of Irish whores? Sandy asks. A bit of an odd choice for a going-away present. Aye, she did. Albie says with a laugh. If she were anyone else, we'd be in for a fight, but Callum's so proud he'd send over every woman in Ireland if it pleased her. What else did she negotiate? I ask, curiously. We stop dealing heroin and lacking, and that we send you men to fight in your war. They're waiting for you, with your own men in your war room. When did all this take place? A few hours before they got on the plane. Why? I shake my head. No reason. Albie tips his hat. I'll be off now. Got a family of my own to see back home. He leaves, whistling the same damn catchy tune that's been playing in my head for the past several days. What was that all about? Why is it important when she negotiated with Callum? Sandy whispers in case Albie is still in hearing distance. Because Trix had already decided to go before she talked to Callum. Sandy smiles. It wasn't a negotiation at all. I chuckle and shake my head. It was a con. Sandy chuckles, then stops and snaps his fingers. Oh, what Albie just said. His men are in the war room with ours. That's what I was coming to tell you. You ready for this? Hayes asks from where he's just appeared behind Sandy, leaning against the door frame. Without having to worry over Trix's safety, I can dive into the deepest, darkest place in my soul and be the monster I need to be, the one who's been waiting to see Marco die for far too long. So it begins, I think to myself. I pocket Trix's quote. I'm ready, I rasp. Good. Rollo is going to take Mona to his cabin until we make a decision on what to do with her, Hayes says as I lead the way to the back door. As much as I want to give the go-ahead to send Mona across the river in the Reaper's boat, it's not my decision to make. It's up to Trix. But she's not here. Mona will just have to ride out her time with Rollo until she gets back. If she gets back, an annoying voice in my head reminds me. I stop in my tracks as an idea strikes. Tell Rollo to be ready when we call. I think I know of a way we can use Mona if it comes down to it. How? Sandy asks. The time for goodbyes is over. The time for war is now. I look to my brothers. As bait.
17. Imogen. We land in a private airfield in Ireland, where a private car is waiting to take us to our final destination. Over an hour later and still trapped in the car, I'm dozing off with my forehead up against the glass when Gabby smacks my arm. Look, she says, pointing out the window. We've just arrived in a village. Cobblestone streets. Perfectly symmetrical stone houses line the square, each with exactly 6 windows in the front and a single door directly in the center. Flower boxes under the windows spill over with bright pink and purple. You live here? Gabby asks Callum. He chuckles.
Yes and no. This is our village, but we live up the hill, not in town.
It looks like a fairy tale, I whisper, pressing my fingers and nose against the glass. I'm reminded of another time Gabby and I were brought to a new home. A day I'll never forget, because it was one of the worst days of my life. Marco, Los Muertos. It all started on that day. I begin to feel uneasy. My stomach rolls. After a few minutes of winding roads surrounded by lush green hillside, Gabby hits me once again. If the village is a fairy tale, then this is where the prince must live. On the top of the hill at the end of a dirt drive is a tall, dark stone structure, complete with castle-like roof top and intricate stone carvings over every window. In front, there's a steep staircase with a fountain at the end of a large square pool/lake in the center of the rounded dirt drive. Holy shit, I say with my mouth agape. Where are we?
We are at Egan Castle,
Callum announces as the car stops at the center of the driveway.
otherwise known as home.
Holy fucking shit, Gabby whispers, staring up at the 5-story castle in wonderment. The brick is a color mix between gray and beige, covered sporadically with green moss. What is that part called? Gabby asks, pointing to the uneven roofline.
Ah, that's called a battlement,
Callum answers, his face lighting up.
You see where the gaps are? The lower parts. That's where the soldiers or guards would shoot arrows at intruders.
Did your ancestors live here? Gabby asks enthusiastically. Callum snickers.
No. Ireland was one of the first countries to dismantle the aristocracy. No royalty in my blood. The wife and I bought the castle ourselves and gutted the inside to put in a new modern, well, everything. When Imogen was taken from us,
He pauses.
we always knew we'd get her back one day. And when that day came, we needed the safest home we could get our hands on.
He looks up to find Gabby and I staring at him. He pulls his frown into a smile.
And there isn't anything safer than Egan Castle.
Gabby scrunches her nose. Where do you even look to buy a castle? Do you call your local castle realtor? Callum shrugs.
I suppose you could, but we bought this one online.
She gasps. A castle website?
Nay, Craigslist.
We don't have time to laugh because the front doors fly open. The woman who runs out with her hand over her throat, searching with her eyes through the dark-tinted car windows, could be my clone, if not for the dark circles lining her eyes. My mother. The nerves I'd been feeling throughout the entire trip slowly begin to dissipate, as a sense of comfort and familiarity wash over me, with just one glance at the woman who gave birth to me. This definitely isn't like the last time we were brought to a new home. It's been going on 18 years now since I've seen her last. I can't wait another minute more. I fling open the car door and race toward her. She sees me and breaks out in a full sprint, flying down the steps. At the bottom of those steps, we crash into each other's arms with a violent smack of an embrace. We stand there sobbing, holding on for dear life. We're strangers, but we're not. This person loves me unconditionally. I feel it in my bones, in my hair. I've been skeptical of every person I've ever laid eyes on. And considering my past, I know it's foolish to jump into the river, moat, without a life raft, but this is my mother. My mother. Hi, Mom, I whisper into her neck. She smiles into my hair. Gabby clears her throat from behind us. We both look up to where she's standing beside the car with Callum, a reluctant look on her tanned face. My mother sniffles and releases one arm from me, holding it open to Gabby. Gabby drops her backpack to the dirt and runs into our hug. The three of us soak each other's clothes with our tears. I don't know who stumbled first, but rather than let go, we fall to a crumpled heap right there on the driveway. Callum comes over to help, his half-crying, half-laughing wife off the driveway. He wraps his arm around her and smiles proudly down at us. His own eyes are both weary from the travel and filled with emotion. My mother looks from me and Gabby like she can't believe we're really here. She speaks for the first time, and hearing her voice is like a song from the past, filled with nothing but pure joy. Welcome home, my girls. The inside of the castle looks nothing like the outside. It's not dark or musty. It's open and airy, clean and modern with a white and gray color palette and stainless steel features. My mother shows Gabby and I to our rooms. They are across the hall from one another on the 5th floor. Each one is clean, yet plush and luxurious. Flat-screen TVs mounted to the wall above the dressers. A laptop on a well-appointed desk for each of us. The closets have several pairs of jeans and t-shirts in different sizes, all with new tags. I didn't know what size you were, so I figured I'd just get the basics, and the 3 of us could go shopping for a full wardrobe. From across the hall, Gabby squeals with delight. "What was that?" my mother asks. That was Gabby opening the closet. She laughs and watches me as I take in the well-appointed bathroom. There's everything you need as far as toiletries go. Again, I didn't know what you liked, so I didn't get any makeup or things of the sort. We'll add it to our list when we go into town. I sit on the edge of the bed. You don't have to do all this for us. We've never had anything like... It's too much. My mother sits next to me and puts her arms around me. Nonsense. Think of it like this. I've missed years of spoiling you. I'm gonna make up for lost time. Will you please indulge your ma and allow me to spoil her daughter? And there's a tub in the bathroom! Gabby's shout echoes into the room. Daughters, she corrects herself with a happy sigh. Thank you, I say, giving in. What else might you want to do? What are your interests? I frown. Do you want to hear the truth? Or would you rather I come up with a less unsettling lie? I ask. The truth, my dear. I inhale deeply. I'm a con artist, a master liar. I can pick pockets with the best of them and make people believe obvious lies. I passed a lie detector test once with the sheer force of my talent. My mother frowns. I should have gone with a lie. Her lips twitch, a dimple forcing its way to the surface of her cheek, and I realize she's holding back laughter. And failing. What? I ask. Oh, wait until I tell Callum. She slaps her leg. What's so funny? She clears her throat and lays a reassuring hand on my shoulder. When Callum and I met, he was working as a guard at the local jail. And me? Well, I was the first inmate to ever give him trouble. You were an inmate? It was a local jail. Just an overnight jaunt. What were you there for? I ask, already knowing the answer when my mother's smile turns into a full-face beam of bright white teeth. Pickpocketing. This time I join her in her laughter, and when Gabby comes in to ask what's going on, we recover just enough to tell her before starting all over again. I can't sleep. It's after midnight, and I've tossed and turned. The bed is the most comfortable I'd ever been in, but it's my restless mind, not my level of comfort, that keeps me awake. Finally, after trying for hours, I get up. I'm not thirsty or hungry or in search of anything. I find myself wandering down the halls of the massive castle, shuffling my feet against the plush carpet. I see a light on in the living room. I peek around the corner and there's my mother, staring off into the fire. I step into the room, and she looks up at me with tear-filled eyes. What's wrong? I ask, crouching before her. She wipes at her eyes as she shakes her head. Her curls sway softly against her face. She closes her robe tighter. Nothing, I'm just so happy you're home. I'm afraid if I go to sleep, I'll wake to discover it all just a lovely dream. I'm here. I'm real. I assure her, taking her hand. She pulls me down onto the sofa next to her. Now why don't you tell me all about this beau of yours? I've never met him but for the one video call. I'm familiar with Belly and Marcy, though, and never heard a bad word spoken about the man. I didn't know him long, but Belly was great. Grim loved him very much. I hesitate, unsure exactly of what to say about Grim, about what we have, about where we stand now. We sit in silence for a few moments, staring at the fire. Do you know what Imogen means? She asks, breaking the silence. I shake my head. It means last-born daughter, because you were a miracle, and we knew there would be no more coming after you. She sighs. I downright hated your father for so long after you were taken from us. But he grew up in this life, and I knew what I was getting into when I married him. So it was as much my fault as it was his. No, you can't blame yourself for things that happened to you. She gives me a squeeze. And neither can you. She has a point. My mother nudges my side. Go on then. Tell me all about your beau. Having experienced a lifetime of little comfort, I find it odd now to be as at ease with her as I am in my own skin. I take a deep breath and tell her all about Grim, how we met as kids, how we had an instant connection, how we were apart for years but had never forgotten about one another. I don't even realize I'm crying until she wraps her arm around me and pulls me in, tucking me into her body. There now. No need for tears, darling. You'll see your beau again. I know it. How can you be so sure? I sniffle. Because true love cannot be separated by time or space. She tips my chin up, and I find myself looking into an almost identical pair of eyes. Do you truly love this boy? I answer honestly. With all that I am. Then you'll find a way back to one another, she says, like it's a fact. How can you be so sure? Because, she smiles. You're here now, aren't you? My heart warms. She lifts the blanket over my shoulders. And because I'm your mother, you'll learn soon enough that mothers know everything, and we are always right. I relax against my mother, and after a few moments of comfortable silence, we both fall peacefully asleep.
18. Grim. Levi Cohen, along with his wife Lee, own the only deli in Lacking. It doesn't have a name, or at least I don't think it does. The sign above the barred door simply reads Deli. Belly, my brothers, and I used to take up residence at one of the only 2 tables inside most Sunday afternoons. We'd stuff our faces with Levi's famous pastrami sandwiches while Belly and Levi laughed or argued about football or something that happened during their weekly poker game. Although the deli is positioned between Immortal Kings and Bedlam territory, Levi and Lee aren't affiliated with any particular organization. However, they're friends, not just of Bedlam, but to my family. Which is why Sandy and I are here now, taking in the aftermath of this morning's drive-by. Holy shit, I mutter, crouching low in the passenger seat, pulling my hood further over my face. It's worse than I thought. Sandy grumbles his agreement as he slows the van to a crawl. The front windows are blown out, glass shards scattered all over the street and sidewalk twinkling as they reflect the last rays of the fading afternoon sun. The thick metal deli sign now hangs sideways, swaying back and forth like a dying man calling out one last time for help. Glass crunches underneath the weight of the tires just as the sign drops face first onto the sidewalk below. Sandy parks the van in the alley behind the butcher's shop and cuts the engine. We look around to make sure we aren't spotted before heading inside the deli using the back entrance through the small prep area. There's a long trail of smeared red leading behind the counter where Sandy and I find Levi sitting up with his back against the cabinet, clutching a bottle of whiskey by the neck. His dead wife draped over his lap. Fuck Levi, I start, unsure of what to say next. Levi's gray and black hair is tousled. His white beard is stained red at the ends. His eyes are glassy and unfocused. He takes a long pull from the bottle but doesn't look up at us. You know, he starts, there used to be such a thing called honor amongst thieves, where innocents weren't subjected to the violence between organizations. I served in the Israeli army for 2 years, as did my wife. We both saw death on a daily basis and caused much death ourselves. But that was a fight against an enemy who fought back. It was soldier against soldier. Our bullets never strayed far from their intended targets. Fuck, Sandy curses, pulling at his hair and puffing out his cheeks. Shit is bad, Grim. At the mention of my name, Levi finally looks up. He looks over my shoulder. I turn to see what he's looking at, but no one is there. I guess you really are the Reaper, he says, unblinking. He looks over my shoulder once more. Still no one. What is it? I ask. Crouching down beside him, I pull my hood from my face. What are you looking for? I'm looking for her, he says, gently smoothing down his wife's hair with a shaky hand. She's gone, I remind him. Yes, but you're dead. If you're here, then I must be dead too. Which means that Lee is probably looking for me. She'll be cross if she thinks I'm hiding from her. Although when I find her, I have to tell her that I never expected the Grim Reaper to actually be Grim the Reaper of Bedlam. He chuckles. She'll get a kick out of that. I place my hand on his shoulder. Levi, you're not dead. And neither am I. I'm not? He asks, his words weighted with the sound of disappointment. No, I'm sorry, you're not. He closes his eyes tightly. Grim, the innocent shouldn't have to suffer. Not like this. I agree. Either Marco doesn't believe me and my brothers are dead, or my plan has backfired and he's pecking at what he thinks are the dying bones of Bedlam in an attempt to take over our business. It's not just Bedlam he wants to destroy. The Kings have been under attack, as well as anyone who's ever been associated with Bedlam, all while Marco remains in hiding while his soldiers slaughter innocents. Life can't go on like this, Levi sobs. It won't, I assure him, standing up and glancing over the war-torn deli. The table where we used to sit is one of the only things left untouched by a bullet. Levi's head falls back against the cabinet. You can't take over a town if there isn't a town left. He looks to his wife again and sobs. I have nothing left. And I mean it. It won't go on, even if I have to show my face to get to Marco. I look to Sandy, who's staring at Lee's lifeless body with a pained look on his face. Sandy, I say. His eyes snap to mine. He follows me over to the other side of the deli. Make some calls. I want a Brother of Bedlam posted inside every business in this town whose doors are still open. They'll stay from open till close and offer people rides to and from work. Sandy pulls his phone from his pocket. On it, he says, tapping away at the screen as he moves to the center of the room. A loud popping sound pierces the quiet. A picture on the wall behind Sandy cracks and falls to the ground, followed by a barrage of bullets. Shit! Sandy shouts. I leap over the table and shove him violently, landing on top of him behind a refrigerated case. Bullets pepper the walls until the sound of tires screeching against the pavement outside signal the end. Sandy grabs his gun and runs to the front door. I race over to the counter on the other side. Before I see Levi, I spot the bottle of whiskey several feet from the counter, broken. What's left of it is spinning in a spilt pool of amber-colored liquid. I crouch beside him once more. "Levi," I say. He doesn't move. I pull on his shoulder gently. His head rolls to face me. His eyes are wide open, as is his mouth. The side of his neck is covered in blood. Levi is dead. "Fuck!" I roar, punching my hand through the cabinet door. This war needs to end, and it won't unless we do something more than point and shoot. We need to be cleverer. We need... Trix's beautiful face comes to mind. We need a con. Sandy is winded as he approaches, tucking his gun away. "The car was too far away by the time I got out there. I blew out the back windshield, but I don't think I hit." He stops abruptly when he sees Levi and my bleeding knuckles. I reach out and close Levi's lifeless eyes. "Go," I tell him softly. "Go find her." Fresh from the hell I've just witnessed, I burst into the chief's office. He looks up, startled, then relaxes once he realizes it's me. "You're going to give an old man a heart attack if you keep entering my office like you've got a bomb strapped under your jacket." I stand next to the chief's desk. "After you found out that Emma Jean isn't of tribal blood, what did you do with the application?" The chief raises his eyebrows. He opens a drawer and digs through to the bottom. "We normally send out a letter of denial, but I figured I'd hang tight on this one, given the circumstances." I shake my head. "No, send it, but not a denial. An approval." "Why would I do—" The chief pauses. "Oh, I see. And by chance, do you want me to ask him to come in to receive his first check? He's probably learned by now that I'm dead." I shrug. "If he believes it, then there's no reason for him to think he's not welcome on the reservation. He'll wonder why we aren't asking him to bring his wife along," the chief says, turning in his chair. "Write the letter personally, as Imogene's father. Tell him that, as he must know by now, she's disappeared after being taken into custody by Lemming. But in her absence, you want to bless your new son-in-law with all that he's entitled to by tribal law." He steeples his hands and purses his lips. "I don't know. He knows I've had trouble with his old man. You think he'll buy it? We can't be sure until we try. Tell him you've had a change of heart since learning Emma Jean is your daughter. And the time to make peace is now. Tell him you want Los Muertos to run security. Tell him anything that might feed his fucking ego and get him on the reservation." "What kind of ritual?" he asks skeptically. I lean over the desk. "A deadly one."
19. Imogen. "Gabby, I hate to say this because I don't want the compliment going to your head," I say, staring at her reflection in the mirror from behind her. "What?" she asks, setting down the tube of mascara in her hand. I smile. "You get prettier every day." She blushes and then shrugs and turns back to the mirror, observing her reflection. For the first time since I can remember, she appears happy to see the person staring back at her. "I feel prettier every day." I think that's what it is. She looks at me through the mirror, her expression soft. "Thanks, EJ." She wrinkles her nose. "Should I still call you EJ? I just realized that it really doesn't make sense anymore since your name is Imogen and not Imogene." Gabby applies gloss to her lips. Her eyes are heavily lined. Over the past several weeks, I've seen her grow stronger, bolder, more confident. The evidence is in the makeup she's grown to love and wears every day, even if we aren't going out. I love watching her shine come back after so many years. It makes me so happy. And nauseous? I grab my churning stomach. "Oh shit. Again?" Gabby asks, swiveling on her stool. There's no time to answer. I race for the bathroom and barely make it to the toilet, emptying the contents of my stomach in several loud heaves so violent I wouldn't be surprised if I expelled a vital organ or two into the white porcelain. When I think it's past and there's nothing left to puke up, I slowly stand on wobbly legs and flush. I wash my hands and splash some water on my face. I don't think Irish food agrees with me, I groan to a sympathetic Gabby as I skulk back into our room. You've been working yourself too hard. All those hours with the tutor or in class, and then when you come home, you're in the gym for hours with the trainer. You don't rest enough. That might be true, I grumble. Gabby stands and opens her arms, and I fall into them, jumping back with a shock of pain. What now? She asks. My hands cover my breasts over my shirt. Just sore. Probably that time of the month soon. Gabby eyes me suspiciously, then crosses the room to the dresser. She sits and picks up a hairbrush and begins to casually brush her hair. So, when would you say the last time you had that time of the month was? I fall onto the mattress. I've never been regular. You know that. I try to recall my last actual period. But I had something after we got here. Yeah, I did, I think. Something like a period? Spotting, more like. As the words leave my mouth, dread pools in my stomach. I sit up. My face pales. I reach out and hold on to one of the bedposts to keep from toppling over. Oh, shit! Gabby runs to my side. What if, I whisper. I don't have to finish the sentence. I don't know how. There's too many what ifs. What if I really am? What if Grim isn't the father? What if it's one of those men Marco let play with me like a dog toy? Or Marco himself? I think I'm going to be sick again. Gabby races to the bathroom. She emerges quickly, setting a waste paper basket on my lap. I hug it for dear life, rocking back and forth on the edge of the bed. Gabby sits down beside me and gently rubs my back. It's going to be okay. We'll get a test and figure this out together. But what if... Shh! It's too early for what ifs. One thing at a time. What on earth is the matter? My mother asks from the doorway. She's clutching a stack of folded towels, which she immediately drops to the floor. She rushes into the room and kneels before me. I swallow hard but can't find the words. I look to Gabby, giving her silent permission. Gabby gets the message. She clears her throat. How soon would you say is too soon to come to you with a major life problem? Ma looks from Gabby back to me. She places a reassuring hand on my knee. You're scaring the ever-loving shite out of me, girls. Out with it. The nausea passes, at least for the moment. I take a deep breath and set the waste paper basket on the floor. I don't even realize my hands are cradling my stomach until my mother's eyes follow. She places both her hands over my own and smiles up at me. That ain't no problem, my dear. She squeezes my hands and shakes her head. It's a babe. It's late at night, but I can't sleep. I wander the halls until I find the room I'm looking for, getting lost twice in the twisted halls of the castle. When I'm almost sure I'm in the right place, I knock softly on what I hope is the door to Callum's study.
Come in,
he answers. I push open the heavy oak door. The castle had been updated to look modern and bright, except this room. It was dark and covered with heavy furnishings. The walls were a dark oak matching the formidable desk. which is where I expect to find him. But when his chair is empty, I glance around.
Over here,
he says. He's on the other side of the room, sitting in a high-backed chair with a drink in hand, staring off into the fireplace. He glances up at me and offers me a small smile.
Come, sit with me.
I take the chair opposite him. Regardless of the roaring fireplace, a chill runs down my arms and legs. I rub up and down the arms of my thick hoodie.
Here,
Callum says, pulling a heavy wool blanket from the back of his own chair. Leaning over, he sets it across my lap.
Better?
I hold the blanket closed in the front and relax a little into the warmth. Between that and the fireplace, I'm almost comfortable. Almost. Much better. Thank you. The weather here is a little different than Florida.
It takes some getting used to,
Callum replies, taking a sip from his drink. He crosses his leg over his opposite knee and resumes staring at the fireplace. A few moments of silence pass between us. Listen, I start. I struggle with finding the right word. Disappointed in me? Callum regards me for a beat.
Nay, I'm not disappointed in you. Am I still gonna give Grim a beating on for knocking up my little girl?
He nods as if he's agreeing with himself.
Most certainly. But you.
His expression softens.
I'll be happy as long as you are happy.
His words do more to warm me than the blanket. Happy? I ask with a burst of a laugh. I look to my hands. If only it were that easy. If only it were Grim's baby growing inside of me.
What's the matter?
Callum asks, his brows wrinkled with concern. I tug the blanket around me tighter. I told Ma what happened to me while I was at Los Muertos. I don't know if you know. I trail off. It's too hard. I'm not going to be able to tell him.
I know. But don't be cross with your ma. She didn't tell me. Grim did. A ways back.
He cocks his head to the side.
You know, I'm a daft man at times. I realize now what that look of worry is. And I think my own excitement of having you here has caused me to overlook some things I'd rather not think about.
I know the feeling.
So the look of worry is because you don't know if Grim is the father.
He doesn't pose it as a question. I press my hand over my stomach inside the blanket as tears prick my eyes. I don't know if it's him, I admit. And chances are it's not.
I'm sorry,
he offers. Don't be.
Not for what you've been through. You don't need me to be sorry for you. I know that much about you. I'm sorry for being a shite father.
He sighs. I'm about to argue with him when he holds up his hand to prevent me.
You and Gabby are both going to see a therapist the soonest I can schedule it. You need to talk to someone. A professional. You've got to work through the past,
he says, his eyes dropping to my concealed midsection.
Before you can make a sound decision about your future.
Thank you, I managed to say. I don't know if a therapist would be helpful, but neither is losing sleep while my thoughts go around in a highway of circles with no off-ramp.
I'd offer for you to see the town priest, but I don't take you for the religious type,
he says. I'm not, although I'm sure he's very helpful. But I don't think I'd feel comfortable talking about all of those things to him. The violence and all, with a man of a god I don't think I believe in. Callum's laugh surprises me. When he sees me staring, he explains.
You're in Ireland, Imogen. The priest can be the most violent of us all.
20. Grim. It's been months. I'm starting to think Marco isn't going to reply to the chief's request for him to show his face on the reservation, and we've had no luck in finding him. According to sources, he's not in the Los Muertos compound and hasn't been since the day I challenged him to a fight we never got a chance to finish. Yet the violence in Lacking continues to grow with each passing day, which makes me believe Marco couldn't have gone far and that he's still in control of Los Muertos. "The bastard bought it. He's here," Sandy exclaims, out of breath. "The chief just sent me a text." I grab my jacket and head for the door. "Where?" I ask. "On top of the hill, by the far wall." We run to the van that's already parked in the back. Hayes is behind the wheel. The second we close the doors, we take off. We get to the hill, and I draw my gun as we slowly creep up the side. It's not until we get to the top that I realize there is no need for my weapon. The chief is standing behind Mal and Marco, who are buried up to their necks in an ant pile, groaning and screaming as they're eaten alive by the tiny insects. "It can't be you," Marco whispers as realization sets in, followed by a disappointing rage. He growls and waves his head violently from side to side, but gives up when he realizes there is no escaping the trap he's been buried in. "No, you're dead," I smirk. "The Grim Reaper doesn't die, but you do." Marco mutters something incoherent. I kneel before him and press my gun to his forehead. "Ants? A bit dramatic, don't you think, Chief?" "Not dramatic. This is nature's jail," the chief explains. He looks to my hand. No guns." "What?" I ask, standing up while Marco and Mal turn their heads from side to side, trying their best to flick off the invading ants, but only angering them further. "You cannot shoot someone on these lands. It's tribal law, and I forbid it." "And you think death by fire ants is a better idea?" I raise an eyebrow. "It's more creative," the chief mumbles. "But no, your issue is with Marco. Mal may die by fire ants. You will use your hands to take down your enemy as a warrior. There's no glory in guns." "It's faster," Hayes argues. "Touché," the chief agrees. "But rules are rules, son. Rituals, holy places, all those things." He widens his stance and crosses his arms, and I know he won't budge. I could just shoot Marco in the head, ask for forgiveness, not permission, but I can't do that to the chief, and there's something thrilling that makes my mouth water as I think about tearing Marco limb from limb. Marco spits. "I'll kill you, motherfucker." I take off my jacket and hand it to Hayes. Sandy takes my gun. I look to the chief, who's smiling. I open my arms wide. "By all means, dig the motherfucker up." Two of the chief's inner circle work to dig Marco free of the ants. His black eyes never leave mine. He stops flinching as the ants continue their assault on his face. Once Marco is free from the pile, he slaps the ants from his skin, then wastes no time roaring at me like a crazed lunatic. "I should have mentioned," the chief calls out. "The ant bites promote a surge of adrenaline before they bite enough to actually kill." I duck, escaping contact with Marco's fist. Marco isn't fighting me as a man. He's crazed and bloodthirsty, a demon who doesn't care if he goes down as long as he takes me with him. That makes two of us. He manages to land a few blows and me several of my own until we're wrestling down the hill. We crash into Sandy, who falls over us. Marco lunges for Sandy, pulling his weapon from his waistband. He swirls it around and aims it at my head. I push my head against the barrel of his gun as victory dances in his eyes. "This is it, Grim. It's over for you." "Marco, help!" comes a shout in the distance. Marco's gaze shifts to where Mona is standing on top of the hill with Rollo by her side. She's not in distress, as her yell indicated. In fact, she's the opposite. She looks cool and calm as she raises her hand and gives Marco the middle finger. The entire episode is only a fraction of a second, but it's all I need. Marco refocuses his attention on me, but he's not quick enough. I lunge forward and knock the gun from his hands. I land on top of him and I swing my fist with all my force against his head. I'm not punching him. I'm punching through him. His skull cracks under my knuckles and I'm still not done. Over and over again I pummel the fucker. Blood splatters on my face and in my eyes and I don't care. I throw blow after blow until Marco gurgles through the blood, until the gurgles cease, and so does Marco. Power surges through me as the life force drains from his body. I'm disappointed that it's over so soon, but regardless that he's dead, I'm not done killing him. Not yet. I scream and rage and continue to pummel him, crazed with power and revenge and adrenaline. "Enough," Sandy says, pulling me off Marco. I spit on Marco's body. "Now, you really are Los Muertos, motherfucker." I look up to the chief. "Are the ancestors satisfied?" "What?" "Oh, the gun thing?" The chief shrugs and waves his hand dismissively. "That's not really a thing." He pulls a large-barreled silver gun with a wooden handle from under his jacket and pumps a single bullet into Mal's skull. "Thank God. His shrieking and wailing was giving me a fucking migraine," the chief says, rubbing his temple with the butt of his weapon. "Then why?" I ask, still out of breath, covered in Marco's blood. The chief smiles. "I didn't want to rob you of the satisfaction of killing him with your bare hands. Feels good, doesn't it?" Sandy and Hayes are both chuckling as I glance down one last time at what's left of Marco. I slowly raise my eyes back to face the chief. "It feels fucking amazing." "Good, then it worked. You can thank your girl," he says. "She knew it would be better this way." "Trix?" I say her name on my lips. I ball my fists, waiting for the anger of her interfering to come. But it doesn't. Instead, I throw my head back and run my blood-covered fingers through my hair. And laugh. I laugh so long and hard my ribs ache and my chest hurts. I drop to my knees in the dirt as the sky opens up and the rain washes Marco's blood from my skin. "What the fuck is so funny?" I'd answer him if I could. But I can't just yet. All I can think about is my girl, who, although thousands of miles away, is still up to her old tricks.
21. Imogen. I'm lost in thoughts of Grim when I should be concentrating on the work in front of me. I wonder how he is, what he's doing, if he misses me as much as my heart aches for him. I love it in Ireland, but as happy as I've been here, it doesn't make me love or want to be with Grim any less. But it does complicate the situation more, because now I won't just be leaving a place when the time comes. I'll be leaving my family. "Having troubles?" my mother asks, glancing at the empty page on my desk. Her eyes drop to the biggest complication, my large rounded stomach, or more directly, the baby growing inside. "Are you feeling ill?" "No, we are fine. It's just that I'll never get this right," I complain, staring down at my textbook. Gabby and I are both finishing our basic education courses. Soon, we will both have high school diplomas. I found out that as excited and eager as I am to have an education, there are some subjects that give me the urge to toss the textbook into the fireplace. "It's math. No one ever gets it right," my mother says. "I'll go fix you a snack. Be back in a moment." She passes my dad on our way out the door. I smile up at him, but his frown makes me worry. "What is it?"
"This is for you,"
Callum says, handing me a small box.
"Came from a messenger just now."
"What is it?" I ask.
I don't...
I cock my head and give him a look that says, "Really?" He puffs out his cheeks and blows out his breath.
Fine. Yes, I opened it. Yes, I know what is inside. And yes, most importantly, I know what it's not, which is anything that can harm you. At least I hope not. You happy, my darling girl?
I noticed over the last several months that when talking to me or Gabby or my mother, Callum, even when angry or upset, ends his sentences with an endearment, a cushion to the blow, a reminder that he can be both upset and still love. It's one of my favorite things about him. My other is watching Callum get flustered. Not being used to having 2 teenage girls to care for, it's a daily occurrence that always ends in giggles from the 3 of us, and Callum storming off in a cloud of Irish swears. I smile. Sort of. I look down at the small box. Written across the top in familiar handwriting is my name. I know exactly who it's from. My heart beats wildly. Gabby and my mother enter the room. What is it, dear? Is it the babe? Is everything all right? Everything is... I can't finish because it's not true. Everything isn't fine. The baby is fine, I say, pressing my flattened palm to my rounded stomach. A little hand gives me a high five and then proceeds to pummel my ribs. I wince and take a deep breath. What's that? Gabby asks, pointing to the box. It's from Grim, I say.
Just give her some room and let her open the darn thing, Callum barks.
But he doesn't retreat, and neither do Gabby or my mother. In fact, they all crowd in closer. I take a deep breath and rip off the top. There's no note, no card, just a ring, a man's ring, a simple black rose with bleeding red stones falling from the petals. I hold it up for my family to see. Gabby smiles. My mother looks terrified. I have no idea how to feel just yet. I glance from the ring to Callum's stoic face. Does this mean what I think it does? He rocks on his feet and clasps his hands behind his back.
Aye.
So Marco is... Gabby trails off. But I know she's not upset about potentially hearing of her brother's demise. I recognize the look on her face. She's merely impatient. Callum nods.
Yes, darling. Marco Ramos is dead. The war is over.
22. Grim. Several months later. Chief David pulls into the driveway, and I find it odd, considering I haven't seen him outside the reservation save for a handful of times. He glances at the bucket of stucco in my hand. Renovating? I look up to the house, shielding my eyes from the sun. As much as I like to think the bullet holes give the old girl character, I think it's time for a fresh start. I set down the bucket on a step of the ladder and pick up a trowel and take a large scoop of the gray cement-like mixture. I flick my wrist to shuck the mixture over one of the holes I'd already wired up, pressing it into the wire, then smoothing it over. Once it's dry, I'll add another layer to mimic the skip trowel texture on the non-damaged portion of the walls. She'll be good as new after a layer of fresh paint. The chief surprises me by shrugging off his jacket and laying it across the bed of his truck. He rolls up his shirt sleeves and picks up another trowel. He digs it into the bucket and begins to repair another one of the holes. You don't have to help, I say. Did you know what I did on the reservation before the casino opened? He asked. No, I don't. We work quickly together. I pick up the bucket and Chief David helps me move the ladder a few feet to the next set of holes. Stucco and drywall, he says proudly. It's tedious work, but I always enjoyed it. Kept my mind focused. I came up with some of my best and worst ideas for the tribe and my people while laboring in the heat covered in drywall dust and stucco mud. I can understand that, I say, looking up at the house. Bedlam. I want it to be more than a house. I want it to be a home, in case I shake the thought away and resume my work. I know what you're doing, the chief says. Does she know the war is over? I'm not sure. Callum knows because Marcy told Albie. I don't know if he's told her, but it doesn't matter. I told her there isn't a deadline on this. I want her to want to come back, and not just because the war is over and it's safe for her now. She'll come. Of that I have no doubt, the chief says, sounding sure. We don't know that for sure. I finish the last bullet hole, then toss my trowel in the bucket. I don't want to get my hopes up, but honestly, this entire house project is a sign that my hopes are already up. If she does come back someday, I want to give her something to come back to. A home. I nod. Safety, security, a life. A real one, I admit. The chief tosses his own trowel into the bucket. Everything. You want to give her everything. I inspect the chief's work. It's immaculate, much better than my own. You gonna tell me what really brought you off the res today? I assume the trip wasn't just to help me stucco. Good work, by the way. Thanks. And you're right. As much as I like working with my hands, it's not the reason I'm here. He wipes his hands on a rag and adjusts his turquoise bolo tie. The reservation lab received an odd request. Actually, I received the request personally and then sent it over to the lab. Does it affect security? I ask. The chief retrieves his jacket. He reaches inside and retrieves a folded paper he hands to me. It's a blood work form from the lab. No, but it affects you. I hand him back the paper. You've already tested my blood, if you don't recall. Unfortunately, not a trace of the tribe. I believe your words were something along the lines of, "You're the bastard son I never wanted." He shakes his head and holds up his hands, refusing to take back the paper. I know that. Read it. It's not a native blood test. I look it over again and realize it's not blank, although the line where a name should be is blank. There are boxes checked for 2 samples, A and B. We didn't receive the actual samples, but the DNA breakdown was sent in an email, he explains. It's a paternity test, I say, confused. It is. Why did you get it? I ask, as a ridiculous thought begins to unfurl in the back of my head. Because we've got the best lab in the whole damn country. We can pinpoint origin down to a village or tribe or region better than any of those mail-in tests can. And because a favor was asked of me, and I figured you'd want me to oblige. I mean, why are you showing it to me? I glance over the paper again, but it's as jumbled as my thoughts. Just tell me what the fuck is going on. The DNA samples emailed over were of 2 females. The chief has a knowing look on his lined face. You think Gabby and Trix? I shake my head. But they already know they aren't related. That's what I thought at first. Maybe they just wanted to be sure, but then the report came back. Turns out that one female is around 18 to 25 years of age, consistent with Gabby, but the other unrelated female is under a year. Love and worry and panic swirl around in my brain. I lean on the ladder for support. A baby? If they compared the baby's DNA to Gabby's, it means they were trying to rule out or find out if she was related to Marco. I say as the realization takes hold. Yes, but since we store all of our DNA reports in our system, I told them to go the direct route and test the child against you. The baby could be Marco's or any one of. I pushed the thought aside. It leaves my mind as quick as if it never was. It doesn't matter whose DNA made our kid. Trix is mine, so the baby is mine. It's just that simple. Like breathing. I don't even have to think about it. Mine. A little girl. Holy shit. I have a little girl. The results, he turns the page toward me. I shove it away. No, I don't need to know. Why not? I smile. Because it doesn't fucking matter. I'm a dad. Good man. Chief David slaps me on the shoulder. Congratulations, Papa. He shrugs his coat back on and looks up to the house. Looks like you've got more renovating to do than you thought. I stand outside and look up at the house for hours without moving. I might never move again. I'm fixated on the swirling emotions inside me. I'm half tempted to go to Ireland and drag Trix back, even though every fiber in my being tells me it's a decision she has to make on her own. But now she's had my baby, and I haven't heard a word from her since I sent her the ring. It's been so long. What if her feelings for me have changed? What if she doesn't want me to be part of her daughter's life? My daughter. That won't fucking happen. I'll give Trix time. A month, tops. After that, I'll be going to collect what's mine. My girls. 23. Grim. It came out beautiful, Marcy says, standing next to me on the driveway. I've just finished replacing the shutters and windows. The entire house has been repainted and new shingles line the roof. You did a great job. Thanks. Looks better than it did. The inside, too, especially the one room. It's never looked better. I shrug. It needed a facelift. I figured while I was already at it, I'd finish the job. I should have done it a long time ago. I know exactly what you figured, Grim. You can't fool me. She wraps her arm around my waist. She'll love it. If she comes back. It's been weeks since Callum learned of Marco's death and the end of the war. Either he hasn't told her or she doesn't want to come back. Either way, doubt has crept in, shadowing my every move. Sounds of tires on the pavement behind me. My instinct is to reach for my gun, but it's not there. There's no need for that now. The war is over. I turn around, and Marcy takes a step back into the house with a ridiculous smile on her face just as the town car with blacked-out windows pulls up in front of the house. The rear door opens, and out steps Trix. Or what used to be Trix. She's filled out, muscular, more everything. My mouth waters and my fucking heart stops. She's wearing a pair of tight-fitted, faded jeans, ripped in all the right places and hugging her every curve. Her tits are bigger, straining against the thin fabric of her Debbie Gibson t-shirt that hangs haphazardly off one shoulder, revealing a new tattoo I can't make out from this distance. Her hair is down and hanging wild around her face, longer than I remember, well past her shoulders now. She pushes her sunglasses from her eyes up onto her head. Her blue-green eyes are bright and clear, a mixture of wild green lawn and the bluest of skies. Her eyes land on me. She smiles. I don't even know I'm moving until we meet in the middle of the lawn. For a second, I'm unsure of what I'm supposed to do. "You're here," is all I manage to say, as if I can't really believe what I'm seeing. She smiles wickedly, then changes her expression to a pout, pushing out her bottom lip. "Mister," she begins, with a begging look in her big eyes. She rocks on the balls of her feet and produces a tiny kitten from behind her back. "I was wondering if you knew anyone who could take Mrs. Fuzzy here. She's lonely and needs a home, and I swear she'll be no trouble at all." I laugh at my girl and go to pet the kitten, who takes a swipe at my hand. She giggles and then remembers her act. "See? Friendly as can be." She bites her bottom lip. "So, can we keep her?" "I think you're forgetting something about that day," I say with wicked intentions of my own. "Oh yeah? What's that?" "The kiss." I grab her hips and pull her close until my lips are on hers. She feels soft and warm and very much like home. The kitten meows, forcing us apart. "So," she says, "can we keep her?" "We can," I say. A throat clears and I look up to find Callum Egan standing at the curb with his wife, who's bent over the back seat. She stands and turns around, revealing a baby cradled in her arms. My eyes go wide, and it's as if I really am meeting Trix for the first time all over again, because whatever defenses Trix hadn't crumbled that day shatter like glass all around me with one look at my baby girl. Trix squeezes my hand and leads me over to her mother. She takes the baby from her arms and places her into mine. My heart literally breaks. Pain like I've never felt and wanted more of strikes me like a dagger to the chest. "So," Trix says, leaning in over my shoulder to smile at our baby in my arms, "can we keep her?" I look down at the blonde bundle swaddled in pink. Her eyes open, and she smiles up at me with shining gold eyes. I clear my throat. Abso-fucking-lutely. "Oh," Trix says, "one more thing." She comes around to my front and holds up my wallet, the one that had just been in my back pocket. She waves it in the air. "You might want this back." I laugh and look down at my baby and up to Trix. My pocket might be empty, but my heart has never been so full. "What's her name?" I ask. Trix smooths a lock of curls from our daughter's eyes. Her gaze meets mine. She reaches out and presses her hand to the base of my throat over my bedlam tattoo. "Rosie."
Imogen.
I have something to show you.
Grim tells me. He tugs me by the hand into the house and opens a door across from the master bedroom. I'm so overwhelmed with emotion at what's before me that I sink to my knees while Grim rocks Rosie in his arms. "Grim, it's beautiful," I whisper, taking in the large quote stenciled onto the soft pink wall above a pristine white crib. "Let her sleep, for when she wakes, she will move mountains." Anonymous. On the other side of the room is a changing table, stocked with diapers, rash cream, even nipple pads. There's a shelf above it stocked with children's books. What has me gasping is the mural painted around the window. It's a castle with waving pink flags at the top. Over it is a crown of flowers alternating between black, white, and pink roses.
"It's us,"
Grim says. I turn back to find him staring at me. He's even better looking than I remembered, and after months apart, the air in the room crackles and snaps. I can practically see it. Flashing little lights, exploding like firecrackers all around us. I can't believe you did all this," I say, feeling every emotion pile up inside me. "It must have taken a long time." Grim nods.
"I started the second the chief told me about the DNA test."
I grin, feeling ashamed for not having told him myself. "I knew he'd tell you. That's kind of why, of all the labs, I picked his. I wanted him to tell you before I had to. I'm sorry. I chickened out."
"Don't be sorry, Trix,"
he says, stepping up to me. The hand not holding Rosie tips my chin up so my eyes meet his.
"I understand. I wish I was there for you. It must have been hard when you found out you were pregnant."
It was, but mostly I was worried about what you'd think of it. Of us. I wave the thought away and look to our sleeping child in his arms. You must have been so relieved when you saw the results. He looks to Rosie.
"I'm seeing them right now, for the first time," he admits. "She has your hair and my eyes."
My heart stops. You mean you did all this? I wave my arms to the walls, the beautiful white crib, the rocking chair. Before you knew she was yours? He shrugs casually as if it was a totally natural reaction to build a nursery and a life for a child you didn't father.
"Trix, the second the chief told me you had a baby, she was mine." The rest didn't matter.
I've been obsessing all this time, I say with a sigh.
Have a little faith in me, Trix. I'm a monster, but you gave me a heart, and I'm giving it back. To both of you. She's mine. You're mine.
His eyes drop to my breasts, which are at least a cup size bigger since I had Rosie. Grim's voice deepens.
All mine.
24. Imogen. My parents and Gabby are staying at a hotel a few towns over. I saw the hesitation in my father's eyes before he left, but after having a private talk with Grim, which I'm sure included threats to his life, they reluctantly left me and Rosie with the promise to be back first thing in the morning.
When are they going back to Ireland?
Grim asks as I step out of the shower, wearing nothing but a towel. I'm tired from the long trip, but a shirtless Grim has suddenly given me a second wind. He's sitting on the bed, wearing a pair of tight black boxers, his back against the headboard, feet crossed at the ankles. When he sees me, his lips part and his eyes darken as he takes me in. A sly smile tugs at his lips. My body feels warm all over, and it's not from the shower. They're not. They refuse for us to be separated again, so they're all staying here. They're already talking about buying a house to renovate.
It makes sense that they're staying,
he says. He swings his legs over the mattress and pulls me between his spread thighs, his hands digging into my waist. It does? I ask, standing next to the bed.
It does, because home is where you are.
He tugs at the towel and groans, burying his nose in my belly button. He breathes me in, dragging his lips across my skin. My arms wrap around his neck, and I yelp when he lifts me up and sets me on top of him so I'm naked, straddling his waist. His growing erection swells against my sensitive skin, and I moan at the sensation.
Shh, our baby might hear you,
he teases. I giggle as he lifts me with one hand, the other making quick work of the boxers in our way. When he pulls me back down, he flips me onto my back and wastes no time pressing his full lips to mine. The heat of his throbbing erection against my skin makes me groan as he nudges my legs apart with his knees. He kisses me deeply, parting my lips with his tongue. He rocks his hips, rubbing his cock through my wetness. I lift my hips, needing more contact, more Grim.
I've got you, Trix,
he says against my lips. He reaches between us and positions his thick girth at my opening, nudging the head inside, stretching me open.
We can do slow next time. Right now, I just need you.
Yes, I moan my agreement. He thrusts, seating himself deep inside of me. I contract around his welcome intrusion. He groans into the crook of my neck.
Fuck, Trix. It's so good,
he mumbles.
Feels so fucking good.
Please, I hear myself beg, arching my back. He lifts his chest from mine and reaches behind my knees, pulling my legs up over his shoulders. The position allows him even deeper inside of me. He pulls back and slams into me, his balls slapping against my ass cheeks. His eyelids are heavy as he watches my breasts bounce with every thrust, with appreciation and awe. With every movement in and out, he rubs against my nerve endings. It's only seconds before my lower stomach coils up so tight, I'm begging for release. Please, I rasp again. Grim growls and lifts my legs from my shoulders and folds my knees. Beads of sweat appear on his forehead. He presses into me again and again.
Come, Trix, come.
The way my pussy clamps around his cock silences him. I don't just come. I ascend to a height of pleasure I never knew possible. The tension releases in a spiral of pressure. A full-body explosion, followed by waves of sparks as I scream Grimm's name, digging my fingernails into his round, muscled ass cheeks. Grimm thrusts into me one final time, his neck corded tight as I'm thrashing underneath him, and the throes of the strongest orgasm I've ever known powers through me like a derailed train. He grows impossibly hard inside of me. I feel his cock throb as he comes on a strangled groan, flooding me with his cum. Grimm collapses beside me, tucking me against his chest. That was, I begin to say, but I can't find the right word in my lust-addled state.
Nothing yet.
Grimm interrupts with a laugh and a wicked gleam in his eyes. For a few moments we relax in comfortable silence. After we both catch our breath, he turns on his side, propping himself up on his elbow.
We have one more thing to deal with.
What's that? I ask, reaching out to brush my hand over the rose tattoo on his throat. He sighs.
Mona.
25. Imogen. My parents come over in the morning with Gabby, as promised. We eat breakfast with Marcy and Grimm's brothers. Ma and Marcy spend most of the morning passing Rosie back and forth between them, gushing over their grandchild. Callum and Grimm discussed business, while Sandy sits, oddly silent, glaring at Gabby from across the table when she isn't looking. I've never felt more at peace or more at home. It's natural, having us all here together. Marcy and Ma barely pay us any attention when we ask them to watch Rosie for a little while. They are both on the living room floor clapping as Rosie crawls between them. They wave us off as if asking wasn't even necessary. I think they're in love, I say to Grimm.
Them and me both,
he replies, tucking my hand into his, leading me to the garage. He places a helmet on my head and checks twice to make sure the clasp is snapped in properly. He sets me on his bike, and just like before, he positions me in front of him. The ride is peaceful without the threat of flying bullets. There are people out and about, children laughing as they play tag in an empty field beside the road. The peace I feel is short-lived as we approach our destination. Rollo's cabin, where he's been keeping Mona since I left for Ireland. I'm surprised to find the cabin is on reservation lands.
Rollo was a tribesman,
he explains, noticing my confusion as we dismount. He takes my helmet from me and sets it on the seat. I don't know what I'm going to say to her, or what I'm going to decide, I admit to Grimm as we stand on the porch. The front door is open, but the screen door in front of it is closed. Grimm raps on the aluminum with his fist.
You'll know once you see her, and if you don't, nothing has to be decided today. This is your call to make. I've been waiting for you to come back to make it, but just know that nothing has to be decided today.
When no one comes to the door, Grimm tugs on my hand, and we head to the back of the cabin where we find Rollo and Mona naked. Mona's riding Rollo on a plastic lounge chair right there on the back porch, his fingers digging into her hips, his eyes closed, and his mouth open in ecstasy.
What the fuck?
Grimm grates. Rollo's and Mona's heads snap to us. Rollo pushes Mona off of him, protectively shielding her with his large, naked body.
Grimm. Go put some clothes on, Rollo orders Mona, who rushes inside the house. Trix turns around while Rollo stands and pulls on a pair of basketball shorts. A few seconds later, Mona appears again, this time wearing an oversized black t-shirt to her knees. She looks frightened. I can see her lower lip trembling from where we stand more than 20 feet away. They descend the steps and approach us. Rollo tucks Mona under his arm, not like he's delivering a prisoner, but like he's protecting her. "What the fuck is going on, Rollo?" I growl. "Boss, I love and respect you, but I won't turn her into you." He hugs her tighter to his big body. "She's mine." "No, she's a prisoner of Bedlam," I remind him. "And up until this very moment, you were my soldier. A loyal one." "She's not a Bedlam prisoner anymore. She's my wife. The tribal council—" "She's what?" I ask, genuinely shocked. I ball my fists. Rage burns in my throat. "Rollo, the bitch is a master manipulator. You don't think she's conned you into falling for her? That it's all part of her plan to stay alive?" "Oh, she tried to manipulate me. I almost killed her for it, too." He looks down to an apologetic-looking Mona. "Almost." I try reasoning with him instead of beating sense into his thick skull. "It's all bullshit, Rollo. Use your head. It's not too late. Turn the bitch over and let her suffer the consequences of her actions against Bedlam. Your family." "She's my family now, too. I'd never go against Bedlam, but I'm hoping you'll side with me on this, and I won't have to." Rollo stands straight, widening his stance defensively, ushering Mona behind him. "Don't ask me to kill her. I won't do it." "Fine. Then I'll get Sandy to do it," I say through gritted teeth. "Then I'll have to remind you that I'm of tribal blood. I'm under the protection of the tribe, and now so is Mona. You can't harm her. If you don't believe me, ask the chief." "That's why you married her?" I groan. "Rollo, do you realize what she's done? To Trix, to my family, to her own fucking sister? Do you know who it is you're actually fucking protecting? Because I don't think you do." "He knows everything," Mona says, choking up. "Every horrible detail. And she's made amends more so than you asked of her. She was your bait and almost your human sacrifice. Does that mean anything to you?" Rollo asks. "You're ruthless, Grim. I know that. But I also know that your black heart beats. And as you've said, I've been a loyal soldier for years. I've never questioned Belly's leadership or yours. Not once. I've fought for you. I've killed for you. I'm asking for this one thing in return. Let me deal with her. Let me take her away from Lacking. You won't ever have to see her again." "Which means you'll never see your brothers again. Is that what you want?" I ask, growing frustrated. Rollo looks pained. "Why didn't you just come to me before?" I yell. "I was waiting to see how it played out," he responds, then shakes his head. "Maybe I thought over time you'd just forget about her." I raise my eyebrows. He blows out a breath. "Fuck, I don't know. Maybe I didn't feel like I had a choice. Maybe—" He looks to Mona. "Maybe I just didn't want to face it all before we had to." "We?" I ask with a laugh, although nothing about this situation is funny. "There was a choice, and you've obviously already made it. And it was the wrong one. This decision wasn't even yours to make. It was Bedlam's, and more than that, it was hers." I point to an uncharacteristically quiet Trix standing beside me, observing Rollo and Mona. Trix sighs and looks to Rollo. "Thank you." Rollo frowns, looking as confused as I feel. "For what? I half expected you to stab me." "Same," I offer, raising my eyebrows at my girl, who looks anything other than angry. She looks relieved. Trix exhales. "I never wanted to decide if Mona lives or dies. Rollo, you've taken the decision out of my hands, so again, thank you." She seems lighter, relieved of the burden of choice. I suddenly feel guilty for not realizing how hard this has been on her. My simple, brutish mind thought an eye for an eye and the decision an easy one, regardless of a past connection. But to Trix, there is nothing easy about it. I'm about to tell her as much when she speaks again, this time to Mona. But I can't have you stay in Lacking, or anywhere near me or my family, at least not anytime soon. I don't want you to be separated from your brothers, but I need time, space. She looks to Mona. I appreciate what you've done for us, but forgiveness isn't something I'm capable of where you're concerned. At least not right now. But I do hope you find everything you're looking for. I hope you truly change and take this second chance for what it is. A second chance. Trix steps up to Mona. Because if this is all bullshit, I'll kill her myself, Rollo says. You have my word, but this isn't bullshit. And I hope you do forgive her, and maybe someday we can come back. I hope that too, Trix says, taking a step back from the confusing-as-fuck couple. Rollo wraps his meaty arm around Mona and tips his chin to me before they walk off into the darkness. The men will think I'm weak if I let Rollo get away with betraying us like this, I say to Trix. Do you think I'm weak for being grateful not to have to decide on someone's life? No. I think you're the strongest person I've ever met, I tell her, brushing her lips with mine. She smiles, and I know a quote is coming next. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Gandhi.
26. Imogen. I'm helping Marcy at the brothel while Grim and Callum are out looking at potential houses for my parents to purchase. Ma is in the Bedlam living area, watching over Rosie, while I sit at the reception desk, attempting to make sense of the computer system. We need a proper receptionist, I tell Marcy as she enters the room with a pile of clean sheets in her hand. The appointment system isn't being used properly, if at all. I look down at the calendar on the desk, where the girls have been handwriting in appointments, instead of entering them into the system. We can't properly keep track of accounting unless it's in the system. I've put an ad out for one, but it's harder to find someone to work the front desk than it is to find girls willing to work in the back. She sets the stack of linens down on the counter. Erin, one of the Irish temps, walks through the door with a bright smile on her face. Erin, as well as several other of the Irish girls, chose to stay at the brothel once the violence ended. Which was great for the business, because not a lot of the women who worked here previously had come back as promised. Between the few women who did come back, and the Irish girls who stayed, we were now fully operational, save for a qualified receptionist. Hey, Erin, you don't by chance know a qualified receptionist, do you? I ask. I used to be a secretary in Ireland a few years back. You did? Marcy asks. Erin nods. I did. I ran an office of over 50 employees. I'd be more than happy to fill in for a while until you find someone. And I can help train them if you'd like. But I make too much in the back to sit up front full time. Thank you, I say. That would be amazing. Erin smiles cheerfully. I've got to go set up my room. I've got a regular coming in a few minutes. I'll let you know when he arrives, I tell her. With a smile, Erin heads down the hall. Marcy picks up her stack of linens once more and follows. The bell above the door rings. I'm expecting it to be Erin's appointment, but that's not who I find standing before me. My jaw drops when a woman steps tentatively inside and sets down a cardboard box beside her. Leo! I shout, leaping from the desk, knocking down the chair in the process. I round the corner and throw my arms around her. Leo is silent except for a few soft sobs. Leo, what's wrong? What happened? I ask, pulling back from her. I keep my hands on her forearms as she looks at me with tear-stained eyes. Leo's stained black tank top has a severe tear down the seams under her arm, exposing the curve of her right breast. Her denim shorts are worn and filthy. In place of a button, they're being held together with a shoestring. Leo's a thin girl, but now she's downright emaciated. Her shoulder bones are sharp, her clavicle pronounced. Her sad eyes are sunken like a skull, surrounded by deep, dark circles. Tears, both fresh and old, stain her dirt-smudged cheeks. Using her eyes, Leo points to the cardboard box beside her. I peer inside, gasping at the contents. An infant, swaddled in a newspaper. "You had a baby!" I exclaim. One of the things about being a mother is the incorrect assumption that you somehow have the authority to touch other people's children, because we are all part of the same club, and we all need a little help now and again. I didn't even think before reaching for the infant, cradling it in my arms. Shit, I look to Leo. I didn't ask, "Is this all right?" She nods, smoothing back the child's thick, dark hair. The baby cries out, its face reddens. I offer it my finger. The baby wraps a chubby little hand around it, pulling it toward his face. He sucks the tip of my finger into its mouth. "He's hungry," Leo whispers. "Do you want a private room to feed him?" I offer. She shakes her head and looks to the floor in shame. Her voice trembles. I can't. I'm polluted. I was clean for a while, but Her eyes water. "I fucked up and..." "Shh," I tell her. "Come with me." I call out to Marcy that I'm stepping away from the desk. She shouts back that she'll be up in a minute. Leo follows me as I lead her to the private door that leads to the bedlam living area. I punch in my code and push open the door. My ma stands from the recliner when she sees us come in. Her eyes look to Leo, and then to the crying baby in my arms. "What do we have here?" she asks. "Ma, this is my friend Leo. She was with me at the Los Muertos compound. One of the only people to show me kindness. Leo, this is my mother." "You're..." Leo's eyes widen. "Yes, my mother," I say proudly. Trust me, your shock is nothing compared what mine was when I learned of her. "Holy shit," Leo swears, covering her mouth. "You could be twins." "That's very kind of you, Leo, but I've got some crow's feet that might argue with that observation," my mom says, brushing off the compliment. But she's unable to hide the delight in her eyes. And I know for a fact she loves when people tell her how much we look alike. My mother stands before me and rubs the back of her finger along the baby's cheek. "And who is this beautiful wee thing?" "This is Leo's baby." "Jack," Leo finishes. "His name is Jack." My mother smiles. "He's lovely. What's wrong, little dear?" she coos. "Are you hungry?" I didn't miss Leo's wince. "Ma, can you do me a big favor and run to the reservation store and grab Jack some formula?" I ask. "Not a problem. I was going to wait until Rosie woke from her nap before heading over there myself for a few necessities. But now that you're here to mind her, I'll pop over and be right back in a jiff." I appreciate the lie for Leo's sake. Ma was just at that store a few hours ago, stocking up in items for the bedlam fridge. "Thank you," I say. "Think nothing of it. It won't be a bother." She grabs her purse. After she leaves, I guide Leo over to the couch. Jack's wailing grows louder. The store is only 15 minutes away by car, but thinking of Jack going another 30 minutes without food heightens my maternal anxiety as my heart breaks for both him and Leo. "You had a baby," Leo whispers, looking over at Rosie's portable crib, where my baby is fast asleep, clutching her little white blanket, filling the room with the sweet sound of baby snores. I did. I say over Jack's cries. Suddenly, I feel wet. I think little Jack peed on me, I say, lifting him from my lap. No, I don't think that's it. Leo stares at my chest where 2 big wet spots have leaked through my bra and t-shirt. It's because he's crying, I explain. Rosie's cries always set them off like this. Jack's little face contorts with unhappiness. His trembling lips expose little red, angry gums underneath. I look at Leo. I don't want to offend her, but I can't take it anymore. I have to do something. Would you mind if I start, but stop and start again. Rosie's not awake yet to feed, and it would be more of a favor to me because it's ridiculously painful if they're full for too long. Oh, please, please do, Leo says, her words filled with relief. Thank you. I lift my shirt and unsnap my bra. It takes little Jack a moment to realize what's going on, but after a few moments and some hushed words of encouragement from both Leo and myself, he finally takes my nipple in his mouth. His screams replaced with the sound of soft sucks and swallows that sound like little sighs of relief. I don't know what to do, Leo says, watching her baby eat. I came here because I've got nowhere to go. She plants her face in her hands. EJ, I know it's a lot to ask, but... Her voice cracks. Do you think you can take Jack? Just for a while, until I can get my shit together. I've got to get clean. Find a job. Find a place for us to live. Do you know who the father is? I ask, keeping my question judgment-free. After all, there was a time when I didn't know who Rosie's father was either. She shakes her head. Where have you been living? I ask. On the streets, she admits with a sniffle. Here and there. I've been selling myself trying to keep Jack fed and buy diapers. I mean, it's no different than what I was doing at Los Muertos. Except maybe better because I'm getting paid. But worse because now I've got nowhere to go. When I started to show, Marco threatened to sell the baby on the black market once it was born. I couldn't bear the thought. I ran. When Los Muertos collapsed, I thought I could go back to the compound and live with some of the people there. But everyone was gone. It was gone. The city tore the whole thing down. I know, I'm sorry, I say. Not that it's gone, but that you're in this situation. I look down to baby Jack. He's unlatched and fast asleep, milk spilling from the side of his open mouth. He's milk drunk, I say. I hand Jack over to Leo while I reclasp my bra and tug down my shirt. I stand and take Jack once more, carrying him over to the changing table where I lay him down. Carefully and quietly, I remove the newspaper he's wrapped in and clean him the best I can with baby wipes. I change him into a fresh diaper that's a little too big, but will make do for now. I wrap him in a fresh white swaddling blanket. Leo forces a sad smile. So will you take him? Her knee bounces beneath her folded hands. I'll do you one better, I offer. Returning to the couch, I place baby Jack back into his mother's arms. Leo raises her eyebrows in question. I smile at my old friend and take her hand in mine. I'll take you both. When I arrive back at the house, Grim is already there. I tell him about Leo and how I've given her a room at the brothel for her and her son, until I can find her something more permanent. The girls there were all over the moon to have a baby to fawn over. And Ma stayed back for a while to help Leo and little Jack get settled in. Grim goes one step further and insists on sending a home rehab specialist to help Leo get clean. I take his hand in mine. Thank you, he shrugs.
She was good to you. It's nothing.
To me, it's everything, I tell him. And after she's clean, I'd like to train her for the receptionist position, I tell him. If it's okay with you. Marcy already agreed, and we have someone to train her.
I think it's a great idea,
he says, kissing me on the forehead. I place Rosie in her crib and turn off the light. Carefully, Grim shuts the door behind us. We silently creep back into the living room and are surprised to find Chief and Margaret waiting for us.
Welcome back,
the Chief offers, standing and opening his arms. I haven't seen him since in the week since I've gotten back, and hadn't realized how much I missed him until now. I run into his arms for a big bear hug. He smells like spicy cologne and fresh air. Margaret places a hand on my back. Congratulations! I heard you didn't come home empty-handed. Thank you, I say to her, releasing the Chief, who offers Grim a congratulations of his own with a handshake and a slap on the back.
I have to ask,
Grim says to the Chief, and I know what's coming next.
Did you marry Rollo and Mona?
The Chief nods.
I did. And it's binding and legal. Water jug ritual, blanket binding, in front of the whole tribe. It's done.
Wait, I say, as the memory of the ritual he performed on Grim and myself comes back to me. Did you say water jug ritual and blanket binding? The Chief swallows hard as I approach him slowly. Margaret suppresses a laugh by covering her mouth with her hand. I point an accusing finger at his chest. Tell me, Chief, do you use those two rituals in anything other than a wedding ceremony? He grimaces. Margaret's laughter breaks. She falls onto the couch in damn near hysterics. Is there? I press. He looks to Grim, who doesn't appear nearly as surprised as I am. The Chief finally answers.
No, there is not.
So then, I begin. The Chief's smile is blinding and unapologetic.
You and Grim, you're married.
27. Imogen. 1 month later. The ceremony is the same as it had been last time, yet everything else is different. This time, I walk down an aisle to Grim linked arm in arm with both of my parents. The Chief conducts the ceremony in English, and we are very aware of what is taking place, the promises we're making to each other. Also, we are dressed for the occasion this time around. Grim looks breathtaking in a black button-down shirt, dark black pants, and his usual clean white sneakers. I opted for a long strapless black maxi dress. I'm carrying a bouquet of black roses, a matching crown of which is weaved into my hair. Marcy takes them from me as Grim takes my hands in his. The biggest difference of all is the golden-eyed, curly-headed toddler sucking on her thumb between our legs. Da-da-da-da-da! She pulls on Grim's pants.
Shh, Rosie.
Grim coos. Rosie looks up at him. Her pink heart-shaped lips spread into a smile, revealing 2 different-sized white squares lodged into her upper gums. Grim's smile spreads. He looks from her to me. My heart and stomach flutter. I'm awash in a wave of emotion. The strength of it stronger than chains, unbreakable by any man. What makes those chains even stronger are the additional links that Rosie has added. Our connection grows stronger every day, and it's not just between the 2 of us now, but 3. I never thought I could love Grim more, but seeing him love our child and feeling that love between them makes me feel complete in a way I've never thought was possible.
You may kiss your bride,
Chief David concludes. Grim's gaze darkens as he pulls me into his arms and plants a kiss to my lips that lasts for much longer than would be appropriate. But the crowd around us doesn't seem to mind, as our friends, family, and all of Bedlam clap, whoop, and whistle.
I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Tristan Payne,
Chief David announces proudly. We separate when Rosie pushes our legs apart. Grim laughs and bends over to pick her up. His free hand holds tightly onto mine. Hayes steps to the front of the crowd.
the King and Queen of Bedlam.
He presses his closed fist to his heart.
My life,
he roars loudly. The rest of the crowd joins them, including Grim and myself, and even Rosie, who balls her fist and places it against her dad's chest, babbling along, my death, my honor, my loyalty, for Bedlam, for brotherhood, for always. We walk through the cheering crowd, who throws seeds into the air as we pass. Grim covers Rosie's head with his hand to protect her. Once we are clear, Marcy walks over to us. I'm so proud of both of you, she says with tears in her eyes. Belly would be too. She waves away her tears and leans down to our little girl, taking her hand. Rosie, you want to come play with Grandma Marcy? Rosie giggles, leaping from Grim's arms and into Marcy's. She plants a kiss on our little girl's head and adjusts her matching crown of roses before carrying her off. Callum approaches us. He kisses both of my cheeks and shakes Grim's hand. Grim tries to pull his hand back, but my father doesn't release him.
Grim, it goes without saying that if you do anything to break my little girl's heart, I'm going to break every fucking bone in your body.
Duh, I groan. Much to my surprise, Grim doesn't get angry. Instead, he smiles and clasps his hand on Callum's shoulder.
I'd expect nothing less, sir. Good. Now, where's my grandbaby?
He asks, releasing Grim's hand. I point to Marcy, who's bouncing Rosie on her knee. Ma is beside them, making faces at our little girl, who giggles and reaches out her little hand, tugging on Ma's nose. Callum makes a beeline for the group and joins them in fawning over Rosie, who eats up the attention.
She is going to be so spoiled,
Grim says with a chuckle. More importantly, she is going to be so loved, I reply.
Her childhood will be so different from ours,
Grim says. Thank fucking God for that, I say. Although, if it wasn't for our shitty childhoods, I might never have met you. Grim scrunches his nose and wraps his arms around me.
Not true. I would have found my way to you eventually. I'll always find my way to you.
He brushes his lips over mine, sending a shiver up my spine. He pulls away and tugs me from the crowd. We walk past the reception area, where a band is set up in the corner. Picnic benches sit under a series of banyan trees, complete with strings of twinkle lights floating between. In the center of the tables are small bouquets of black, pink, and white roses in mason jar vases. Ones were concealed to the group behind a thick trunk of one of the trees. Grim cups my chin.
Hello, wife,
he says with a sheepish grin. He presses his lips to mine, then brushes them along my jaw.
I've been waiting to say that to you for so long now.
I raise an eyebrow. You mean the past 30 seconds? His dark eyes are gleaming with wickedness.
No, since the first time we were married.
You knew, I say, playfully pushing at his chest. Grim holds my wrists against him, pulling me closer.
I knew. When the chief wanted to do the ritual,
You're the one who told him which ritual.
I did. You were mine. Since that very first day you conned me into taking your pussy. Cat.
He releases one of my wrists and snakes his hand around to the back of my neck, kneading his fingers seductively into my flesh.
It was only fair. A trick for a trick.
You mean a trick for a tricks, I correct him, leaning into his touch.
Exactly. Although you aren't just tricks now. You're Imogen Parrish Egan Payne.
He chuckles.
Is that what you've decided? Did I get it all right?
I nod and trail my hand along the stubble of his jaw, my thumb over his full bottom lip, which he kisses. It's who I am. I'm not just one thing, one name. I'm all of them. I smile. Besides, Queen of England was taken.
You're my queen.
He kisses my lips, and I open my mouth to him.
You're my everything.
He mumbles against my mouth.
Mine. Now and forever.
I'm yours, body and soul, I whisper.
I love you, Imogen Parrish Egan Payne. I'm your possession as much as you are mine. I belong to you. My love, my life, my honor, my loyalty. For always.
Someone coughs behind us. Grim doesn't release me. He keeps me in his arms, turning us both to face Sandy.
What?
Grim snaps, but he can't help the smile on his face.
There's like 100 people here that are waiting for the bride and groom to make an appearance. As entertaining as I am, it's not me they're here for.
Grim mumbles under his breath. He drapes his arm around me as we head toward the picnic tables under the stars and twinkling lights. I spot Hayes and Gabby dancing together. He releases her as the song ends, and giggling at something he says as the two of them step off the makeshift dance floor. Sandy makes a beeline toward her, tugging her to the back of the crowd, where he lowers his head to hers, whispering something in her ear. Gabby takes a step back, her face heated with rage. She juts out a hip and points a finger into his chest. What the hell do you think is going on there? I ask.
I'm not sure I want to know, Grim replies. I'm focused on something else entirely.
He looks me over from my head to my toes, heating me with his gaze as he pulls me onto the dance floor. His lips are at my ears.
Marcy and your ma are going to watch Rosie tonight. After everyone is good and drunk, I'm going to steal you away. I have plans for you tonight.
He pulls me into his chest, and I can feel the outline of his plans against my stomach. I gasp at the sensation.
All fucking night.
My face and body heat with anticipation. I smile up at him as the music begins to play. He pulls me closer and searches my eyes eagerly as we sway along to the soft melody. I swallow hard and nod, unable to find the words. Lacking is no longer a perversion of a town, but is well on the way to becoming what a town should be. Not just a place, but a community. Just as we are now a family, a real one. I belong to Grim, not because he took me or forced me, but because I belong to him in the same way he belongs to me. Being someone's possession makes you nothing. Giving yourself to someone completely makes you everything. And that's what we do, what we'll always do. Give ourselves to one another completely, with love, passion, and permission. Imogen. Epilogue. 14 months later. Callum and Eileen bought a 3-story house in Lacking. Actually, they bought an entire block of homes they are remodeling and renovating into one massive compound, as well as the 30 acres of forest behind it that butt up the reservation. They are doting grandparents. Callum is still the head of Clan Egan, but has plans to turn the operation over to Albie and retire within the next few years. They still travel to Ireland every few months, but when I tell Ma that I feel bad for taking them away from their home, she assures me that home is where her family is, and right now, her home is in Lacking. Even though I decided to live with Grim, Callum and Eileen's big house isn't empty, as Gabby happily lives with them. We both received our GEDs and attend classes at the community college 3 days a week. Gabby takes a variety of classes, unsure of what she wants to do with her life. I'm enrolled in the creative writing program. Grim and I live in the remodeled Bedlam house. Marcy has moved into Grim's outside bedroom, but it's no longer just a shed made into a room, but a full apartment for her, complete with large master bath and newly added kitchen and living area. Sandy and Hayes still occupy the 2 bedrooms upstairs, while Grim and I have taken over the master bedroom downstairs and the other bedroom across the hall, which is now Rosie's nursery. After spending so much time apart, we're all together often. There are big family dinners at least once a week, either at my parents' house or ours with all of us, Marcy, Sandy, and Hayes included. Sometimes, a few of Grim's other brothers come by for the meal. Chief David and Margaret come by as much as they can. Things are going well for them. I know this because of the huge diamond Margaret has been sporting on a very important finger, and the googling eyes they make at each other when they think no one is looking. Eileen, Marcy, and I have started a cleanup committee to help those residents who can't afford to fix up their properties. We spend a lot of time with the men of Bedlam, patching up bullet holes and painting over graffiti at various homes and businesses throughout Lacking. All of the gang signs in town have been removed, including Bedlam's. Not because they aren't proud of who they are. Their Bedlam Brotherhood pride reads loud and clear on the patches of their clothing and inked into their skin, but because their black bleeding rose shouldn't instill terror in the residents. All that's left of Bedlam's graffiti are the massive murals, works of art representing those who've fallen, or the way the people felt in this town while it was under attack. The art in the town is not to be feared any longer. It's to be appreciated. The bloodstains have been cleaned up as best they could be. Only shadows of rusty red remain splattered on the sidewalks and streets, a ghostly reminder of what once was. Grim rules the Bedlam Brotherhood with an iron fist and a full heart. There is happiness at every corner, overshadowing the occasional dark reminders of the past.
Is this it?
Grim asks, eyeing the box on my lap, the one I've yet to open. It is, I answer, rubbing my palm over the taped seam. Grim takes his knife from his pant leg and cuts open the box on my lap. My mouth drops open as if he's just cut the clothes from my body.
What?
He asks.
You may not know this, but staring at a box doesn't open it.
I'm just nervous.
I'm not,
he says, crouching before me.
I'm excited. You haven't let me read a single page. I don't even know the fucking title.
He opens the cardboard flaps.
The suspense is killing me, Trix.
I reach in and pull the packing from the box, setting it beside me on the couch. I glance down and am immediately filled with happiness and pride. I've worked so hard on this book. After long days of caring for Rosie and attending classes, I'd spend even longer nights filled with doubt and staring at a blank page on my laptop and blinking cursor, mocking my ability to put my story into words. But I did it, and here in my hands is the product of that labor and love. I pick up the first book from the stack and hand it to Grim. He turns it over, revealing the simple black cover with a shadowed hood looming over the white lettering. The corner of his lip twitches.
"Holy shit,"
he says.
"I knew you were writing a story based on your life story. But this, wow. You're incredible. So fucking incredible."
Do you like the title? I ask. He nods as he runs his fingers over the raised lettering. There's pride in his voice as he reads it out loud.
"Nothing's fair in love and gang war."
Grim. Epilogue continued. I follow Trix, lurking far enough behind so she won't notice me, but close enough I can see very well what she's doing. And what she's been doing both makes me want to laugh and wrap my hands around her throat. All the while my chest swells with something that feels a lot like pride, while my cock swells with something else entirely. She started out by pickpocketing a man in a suit. She leaned over to pick something up, knowing full well he was going to look down her shirt. She'd swiped his phone and wallet out of his briefcase before the motherfucker had a chance to adjust the crotch of his pants. Then she does something that surprises me. She circles the slot machines on the outside of the room, pretending to be interested in a penny slot machine for a while before making her way back to the same man who she'd just taken his wallet from. The man is now confused and searching frantically for his missing items. "Is this yours?" she says to him, playing up her southern accent with a big smile. "I found it over by the slot machines, and the photo on the ID looks a lot like you." "Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much," he says, wiping the beaded sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief from his pocket. "It's no problem at all. It's all in there," she says when he opens it to inspect to see if his cash is missing. "I found it lodged under the machine, so I don't think anyone else saw it but me." "Can I buy you a drink as a thank you?" the man says, standing up and tucking his wallet away. "No, thank you. I mean, I'd love to, but I'm just here applying for a much-needed job. Fingers crossed," she says, lifting her shoulders to her jaw and crossing her fingers on both hands. "I got a couple kids at home and a babysitter I can't afford to pay more than the 1 hour, so I gotta hurry." She only makes it a couple of steps, but I see that by the third she's already slowed her stride, just in time for the man to shout, "Miss, wait. I'm so stupid. Here." He takes out his wallet and hands her a few $20 bills. "Thank you again. I hope this will help pay for the babysitter." She smiles, and she's good. Better than I ever realized. "Oh, this is so sweet. Thank you so much. This won't quite pay the sitter, but maybe it will pay for a ride home so I won't have to take the bus since I have to see Daddy at the hospital on the way home." He digs back into his wallet and pulls out every bill in it. "Here, take it all. For the kids." "What kids?" she asks cheerily, tucking the now folded bills into her bra and prancing away on the balls of her feet like a newborn deer out for a frolic. Now she's just fucking with him. I hold my hand over my mouth to suppress a laugh. The man is left scratching his head for several minutes before heading to the ATM to refill his now empty wallet. When I feel her presence behind me, I don't turn around. "You've gotten better." "You haven't. I knew you were following me since I left the house." "I was curious what you were up to," I say, turning around to where she's standing so close I can smell her perfume. Every man instinct in me is shouting to shove her between two slot machines, hike up her skirt, and push inside her. "Well, we are in a casino, and by the looks of it, I'm up about..." She pulls the money from her bra and counts it before tucking it back in. $340. "What are you going to do with all that money?" I ask, raising a brow. She raises her arms and wraps them around my neck. "Rosie's piggy bank, of course," she says. "Chief David is going to be pissed," I tell her. She doesn't seem the least bit concerned. "Nah, he knows what I'm up to. I've been waving at him through the security cameras for weeks. Plus, he was over the moon happy when I gave him a signed copy of my book. He thinks because I mention him in it that he's super famous now." It's true. The chief even went so far as to make Trix's book available at the casino gift shop. Speaking of Rosie, Are you ready to go home, or do you have a few more tricks in you tonight? I ask. She wags her eyebrows suggestively. Her voice is smooth and seductive. Oh, baby, I'm done here, but I've always got a few more tricks for you. I groan at the implication, pick her up, haul her over my shoulder, and carry her out of the casino, slapping her ass as she laughs wildly. Are we going home? She laughs as I set her over my bike. Yes, where I'm going to let you show me those tricks, and hopefully it will end in you giving me another baby. Another? She asks. I nod and press my lips to hers. Yes, I want another, and it's all your fault. My fault? She asks, pushing against my chest. I hold her still. Yours. You planted this love thing inside me, and now it's grown out of control. I need more people to give it to before I explode. She gasps and looks over her shoulder, spying the Bedlam compound. Why wait until we get home? I can show you my tricks right now. I pick her up again and carry her toward the compound. When we reach the door, I slide her off my shoulder slowly so I can feel every inch of her gorgeous flesh against me. She unbuckles my jeans while I lift off her skirt. I feel between her legs. She's so wet and ready. I lift her off her feet, toss her down onto the couch, and cover her body with my own, filling her pussy with one hard thrust. She cries out as I fuck her hard. At the end of each thrust, when her eyes roll back into her head with pleasure, I recite my Bedlam oath, telling her how much I love her in the best way I know how. My life, thrust. My death, thrust. My honor, thrust. She cries out, I'm barely holding on. My loyalty, thrust. For you, thrust. For us, thrust. She comes violently, squeezing my cock mercilessly. I push into her one last time. My balls squeeze and pleasure rips down my spine as I empty my cock inside her tight pussy. We collapse together, breathing hard. She turns and smiles up at me, and my heart seizes, shaking my body more violently than the orgasm. She brushes her lips against mine and finishes the oath. For always.